Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're stepping into Chapter 5 of Ocean Vuong's book, The Emperor of Gladness. This chapter, well, it feels like a real turning point.
Oh, definitely. As we look through the material, it really stands out. This is where the whole emotional feel of the book just like shifts. We're moving into some new territory here.
Yeah, it really does. This chapter throws you straight into this, well, this chaotic, almost absurd corporate job setting.
Right.
But then it pivots, quite unexpectedly, to this moment of quiet discovery. There's warmth there, real meaning.
It's such a striking contrast, isn't it? And that's what we want to unpack in this deep dive. Really get to the emotional heart of it all.
Exactly. Uncover some of those surprising little details and insights.
And hopefully help you connect with Hai's journey. Maybe even, find parts of your own experience reflected in these contrasts, these quiet moments. Feeling seen, basically.
So let's dive in. We start right in the middle of it, this place called HomeMarket. What's this world like that Vuong drops us into?
Well, HomeMarket is set up as this fast casual restaurant. It sells the idea of home cooking, right?
Right.
But the reality described in the sources, it's completely different. It's all this carefully constructed illusion.
The description of how the food's actually prepared is just wild.
It is.
It's basically heating up these vacuum-sealed bags of, well, mush, cooked in a lab maybe months, even a year beforehand.
And you have to scrape off this, grim crust before you can even put it in the steaming hoppers.
And those signs, made by hand.
Yeah, literally written with magic markers. They attribute dishes to employees who are just, reheating this mass-produced stuff. The performance for the customer is everything.
It's the specific details that really paint the picture, though, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're almost hard to believe.
Totally. Like Maureen flicking a fly onto a chicken.
Oh, God, yeah. And it just becomes part of the skin.
Or Russia dropping his phone in the soup hopper.
And just saying he'll get it later when it's empty.
Exactly. Or Maureen using that lukewarm mac and cheese.
As a compress for her arthritis.
Yeah. It's bizarre, but it shows you, doesn't it? The absurdity, the lack of, hygiene, and just the strange ways people cope. It gives it this unhinged, kind of surreal feel.
And then there's the manager, BJ.
BJ.
With her really over-the-top, almost like cultish belief in the product.
And the performance, pointing to Maureen, saying, Maureen made everything herself, no Chef Mike's around here.
Playing on the microwave thing, Chef Mike.
Right, pushing that fake handmade story. But underneath all that corporate stuff, you've got the actual crew.
The people living in this space.
Yeah. Maureen, the foul-mouthed ex-hall monitor who surprisingly got on the register.
And Russia, what a description. From Tajikistan. Hunched like Gollum.
Anime blue hair, the Jack the Pumpkin King nose stud.
Shouting orders at the drive-thru.
Then Amanda, the quiet dishwasher girl in UFO pants, barely says a word.
And Wayne, chief of rotisserie.
The one actually making the money. His chicken is different, right? As the customer says, it feels different, it's real.
Boom just immerses you in the smell of HomeMarket, too. It sounds overwhelming.
It does. The synthetic mix. Chemical food smells diacetyl, acetylpropionyl, fake colors.
All mingling with burning chicken fat, stale dishwater, rotting food.
And then cutting through it all, the only real organic smell. Sweat, body odor.
The sources call it the garlicky, tarish, and vinegar scent of human work. Cramped space.
Yeah, just the smell of hard labor, in this totally artificial world.
And that shared smell, that sensory overload, becomes this weird, unspoken thing connecting the crew.
Exactly. They're all breathing the same stuff day in, day out, the same smells of their shared struggle.
But even in that chaos, that sort of dehumanizing place, something really powerful happens. Remember that moment with the tennis family?
Oh, yeah. Making those casual, racist comments about Wayne.
Just awful casual cruelty. And Wayne's response. It's the total opposite of the noise around them.
So quiet, but so strong. Deeply rooted.
He connects his work, roasting chicken, directly to his heritage.
Tells them his father and grandfather were pitmasters, Carolina pitmasters.
Mm-hmm.
And this is his connection to them, to their history.
He says, I might not have a photo of my granddad, but I have this, and points to his heart. Just, wow.
It completely silences the room. You can feel how it lands with the whole crew.
It takes this mundane job and makes it about memory, identity, quiet resistance.
Yeah, it shows how you can find meaning, find dignity in the most unlikely, even absurd situations.
And after the shift, you see more of that unexpected community forming.
Right, out back. Russia, Sony and Hai.
Russia making that creative, chicken skin cornbread sandwich.
A meal totally born out of their environment. Right, using the scraps.
And Sony doing sit-ups on cardboard.
And we find out why. He needs that $3,000 bonus from joining the honor guard.
To bail out his mom, her asylum appeal denied. It just grounds everything in these really tough realities they're facing outside of work.
And Rush is there, dropping his philosophical bits.
Everything's actually a prison.
Or the army being food for the military-industrial complex, ideas he clearly got from his dad.
Yeah. So despite all the difficulties, the job's craziness, the pressures outside these shared moments, sharing food, talking out back.
It shows how people build community, even in alienating places, forged in those shared smells and experiences.
So we have this incredibly vivid, almost overwhelming picture of the corporate kitchen. But the chapter pivots, doesn't it? This is where Vong shifts the whole mood.
Yes, exactly. The narrative pulls away from that daily grind, the absurdity of HomeMarket.
And moves toward this moment of quiet, unexpected discovery.
Hai's neighbor, Grazina, leads him into her late husband's basement.
And what's down there is the complete opposite of the artificial world he just left.
A secret library. The source described it as dusty shelves, forgotten classics, a hidden treasure trove of stories.
It's a moment filled with quiet beauty, stillness. And you notice the writing itself changes.
Yeah, the sources point that out. Vong slows the pace, the language gets softer. It really invites you, the reader, the listener, to just linger there.
You can almost feel the warmth from the old books, smell the yellowing paper, hear the silence after all that kitchen noise.
It's designed for you to feel it, to experience that shift alongside Hai.
And it's more than just finding books, isn't it? Thematically, it's huge.
Absolutely. The sources stress this. It's about discovering parts of himself, finding comfort, connecting with memory.
He connects the books to a lost friend, right?
Yeah.
Finding meaning among these forgotten things.
Exactly. It just powerfully underlines that main contrast. The soul-crushing corporate machine versus this soul-nourishing experience. Finding connection, rediscovering stories in this hidden, quiet place. It's like taking a breath.
Finding solace where you least expect it. And this theme of discovery, memory, forgotten stories. It leads us back to Hai's own past journey, which is also revealed in this chapter. It gives so much context.
Right, we get these glimpses. Born in Vietnam after the war, immigrating to Connecticut, raised mostly by the women in his family, his mom, grandma, aunt.
And his earlier attempt at a bigger life. New York, Pace University.
But that's where the struggle with pills began. Spending time in the library basement, often high, looking through old journals, photography books.
And eventually dropping out.
Which led to that difficult dynamic back home with his mother. You see her working so hard.
Escaping into Tetris.
Yeah. And her frustration with him, the drug use, the joblessness, it's palpable.
And then the lie, that really poignant, heartbreaking story.
Telling his mother he got into an MD program, using a pamphlet he found.
From the Harvard Divinity School, of all places. Picked up from a library.
And her reaction? Just overwhelming hope, pride.
Sees it as God answering her prayers, contrasting him with the other bums around here.
This lie gives her so much relief, especially after his grandmother, Banggoa.I, died. Her death had really dimmed his mother's light, you know.
And he feels like he suddenly had a say in saving the living, when he couldn't save the dead. That's heavy.
So heavy. And the weight of that lie just follows him. His departure for Boston.
Getting the bus ticket. Avoiding saying goodbye at the station to spare them both.
And that image of him puking up the rice cakes she made for him.
So symbolic. Throwing up her love, her hope, the massive burden of his lie.
He describes just running out of roads, literally and metaphorically, and ends up at this brick building.
The New Hope Recovery Center.
And the power of that moment is realizing he can finally say the words, I could use some help.
He realizes he'd never been in a place built for those words before, never been able to say them.
So we spend some time inside the rehab world with him. There's that early memory, seeing someone overdose, young.
Jennifer Knoxley's father.
His thoughts on the pre-iPhone era, how drug use felt like this hidden thing, a quiet epidemic.
He mentions trying heroin at 16, that sensation he describes, drowning in his own blood.
Yeah. And you get these very specific details of rehab life, the 3-week insurance limit that dictates everything.
The sheer boredom, a kingdom of boredom.
Rooms named after squashes, like kabocha. His roommate, Marlon.
And that bizarre conversation about MSG and Asians not needing rehab.
Right. And Hai being adopted and eating waffles, the source just presents it kind of neutrally, highlighting how strange and surreal that recovery environment can be.
You've also got the counselor, Jose. quoting Sun Tzu.
The constant Jesus imagery everywhere.
And even, like, a subtle black market for drugs happening within group sessions.
Yeah, unexpectedly. But alongside all that strangeness and difficulty, there's also real kindness.
The nurses,
Many of whom had lost people to addiction themselves.
their little quirks are mentioned. Susan Bean's banana split phrase.
Or Wanda slipping him Werther's originals. Little moments of genuine, compassionate care.
And thinking back to the lie again, you really see the layers of why he did it.
It came from wanting to give his mother hope back after her grief. A desperate attempt to feel some control, some agency, to feel like he could save someone.
This chapter just weaves so much together, doesn't it? It goes from the jarring absurdity of HomeMarket
Through moments of found community, like Wayne's quiet dignity.
into this deep dive into personal history, addiction, struggle, that heavy lie born from love and desperation.
And finally landing in a place where help can actually be asked for and maybe received. It's like a journey through different kinds of prisons, finding unexpected bits of freedom.
And this is really where it connects back to you, listening. High's journey, right? Swinging between these soul-draining places and then finding these unexpected moments of nourishment.
Yeah, whether it's in that hidden library or a shared sandwich with coworkers or just finally asking for help, it mirrors things we all navigate, doesn't it?
Those contrasts in our own lives. The mundane, the frustrating, maybe even the absurd parts of the day.
Right next to quiet moments of beauty or connection or comfort that pops up unexpectedly. Or discovering something new about yourself.
Getting into High's story like this, it's not just about understanding a character. It's about maybe recognizing echoes of his experience in our own search for meaning.
Yeah, it can help you feel seen. Acknowledging all those layers, the absurd stuff, the quiet beauty, the moments of real connection in your own everyday life.
It's such a powerful reminder, isn't it? That sometimes the biggest discoveries, finding yourself or finding some peace, they don't happen in the big, loud moments.
No, they happen in forgotten basements or quiet chats after a hard shift, or maybe just in the simple act of reaching out.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Chapter 5 of the Emperor of Gladness, we've journeyed from the chemical smells of HomeMarket,
To the dusty warmth of that hidden library.
and we've traced High's path through struggle, addiction, lies, to a place built for healing.
And the chapter leaves you with this really profound feeling that maybe salvation or even just a moment of peace, of understanding, it can show up in the most unexpected ways.
Maybe it is a slice of weird cornbread made from leftovers.
Or a forgotten novel tucked away on a shelf.
Or just finding the strength, finally, to say those 4 simple, really hard words, I could use some help. So here's something maybe for you to think about to carry away from this. What hidden corners are there in your own world? Or what forgotten stories, maybe inside you or just around you, might hold some unexpected meaning, some comfort or connection?
Maybe allow yourself to notice the contrasts in your own life, the absurd bits right alongside the quiet beauty. Stay curious, about the layers underneath the everyday stuff.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. We really hope it helped you feel a bit more connected to the journey, both High's and maybe your own too.
Keep listening, and we'll keep exploring these stories together.